Everybody, this is Chancellor D. Today I'm joined by my guest Danny. Hi Danny.
Hello.
And we are discussing WrestleMania 33, which just happened a couple of days ago. We're recording this right after SmackDown. Actually, we were watching SmackDown, but SmackDown Live, and last night was the Raw after Mania, which was all over the place as usual. But we're discussing WrestleMania 33 and, our highs and lows of the show and everything in between. Anything else you want to share, Danny, before we turn things over to our listeners?
I'm just happy to be a guest on your podcast,
Awesome.
and I
Yeah.
can't wait to talk about some wrestling. Did you watch it last year?
I did. Last year was like my first WrestleMania actually.
Um,
So I didn't
I
have
think.
a lot to go on outside of like just knowing how cool it was.
Mhm.
But that was it.
Yeah, I think it was like my second WrestleMania, but I just remembered because it was like 7 hours last year too, and I just remember feeling like I was watching, like I was doing chores. It was kind of depressing. It was like everybody who I didn't want to win won. So
Gotcha.
I did, yeah. So I really appreciated this WrestleMania because to me it was like way more upbeat. It was fun. So it didn't seem like 7 hours like it did last year.
True. That's true. I always forget WrestleMania starts at 5 East
Mhm.
Coast time, and I guess because it went to midnight.
It did. It ran late.
Yeah, 'cause I think last year it stopped like around like 11:30, 40.
Mhm. Yeah, last year. I mean, I don't know. Last year was just. It was too much. It was like I just was. I couldn't believe I was sitting here watching wrestling all day long. So like I said, I was really happy with this year because even though it was the same amount of time, it went by a lot quicker.
True, and maybe it has something to do with the brand split.
Maybe.
Cause
Go ahead.
I was saying last year, I mean, you had Shane versus Undertaker, and that it was just one WWE last year. It wasn't SmackDown roster versus Raw roster. So
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, and also I think another huge point is that there was more investment this year, like going off of what you said, because I think this year there were better storylines. Like everything felt like it just built up to WrestleMania. Like every match had a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, like whereas last year I felt like some matches were just kind of thrown together. Like this year it was like each match felt like it had been building for months, and so you were excited to see the blow off.
Mm-hmm. Because what were some of the matches that you like were anticipating this year?
Well, the six pack because I love Naomi, so that was just automatically like I was really excited for that match, and I wanted to see the mixed tag.
Oh yes.
And yeah, well, basically any woman's match, and I like the fatal four way too. And I wasn't really interested in AJ Styles and Shane McMahon because Shane's not the best worker, and I wasn't really interested in Kevin Owens or Chris Jericho. And yeah, just really the women matches and the mixed tag.
Okay.
How about you?
I'll say the women's matches, mixed tag, and actually, I think the one I was really looking forward to was actually the Kevin Owens Jericho one,
Uh,
just because of like the whole friendship storyline, and I guess
yeah,
I bought into the whole, um, you know what you're gonna get, you know what you're gonna get, you know what's gonna happen, those catchphrases of Chris's, like
yeah,
I started to enjoy. It's like you just made the list, and I was just like, okay, Raw ended last week of like saying almost they finally made the list, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be a payoff, but okay.
Because you said you watch Raw, right?
I do, but like I'm a bigger SmackDown fan, but I actually watch Raw more so than SmackDown, which is like the irony of it.
Yeah, see, I watch SmackDown and I don't watch Raw.
Right.
But I know what's happening because I follow it online. Like, I'll just read recaps, but I typically don't watch it. I
Mm-hmm.
will watch the pay-per-views, but I don't watch the weekly shows.
Gotcha. And I think maybe it's because of the whole is Raw is 3 hours and there's a lot of time to fill. But I would
Yeah,
say like last night's episode didn't feel like a chore.
it didn't. It was really good. It was a really good WrestleMania, and I mean, for you to have 3 matches on the pre-show and 10 matches on the main card for the majority of the matches to really hit, that was really impressive.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, the first match of the night, AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. What did you think?
I thought it was a pretty decent match, but it kind of reminded me of Shane Undertaker, at least with some of the spots that Shane did.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, like jumping across the ring and then hitting AJ. Like when AJ was holding the trash can.
The coast to coast.
Yeah, I always forget the name of the moves. Yeah, that the coast, and then jumping when AJ was on the table outside the ring, and basically kind of redoing his move against Undertaker last year from jumping from the top of the cage,
Mm-hmm.
and then AJ moves like the same manner. I'm like, dude, you hurting yourself, man. And I think I said it out loud. I was like, man, you hurting yourself. Like you did the same spot last year, jump into a table, and the person dodges your move. Like I know that's like video game logic, but you're doing too much.
Yeah. Well, see, for me, okay, because remember I told you I wasn't really interested in this match because of Shane,
Right.
but I actually liked the match. And it was really funny because I was watching the match with my mom, and so she was like rooting for. And my mom don't like wrestling. She
Okay.
just so happened to be at my house when it was on, and so she was rooting for Shane, and I'm like, nah, AJ's got this. And so I'm watching it, and I'm like, Shane is pulling out some tricks.
He did.
Like, which okay, like for what he did you see when he like jumped over AJ Styles when AJ was running towards him?
Yes. That was
I mean, that blew my mind because I wasn't expecting him to do that.
because I think
So it was like, huh?
I mean, I'm thinking like Shane probably wrestles like what once a year.
Yeah, once or twice, maybe at the most. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this is like his big workout. The public workout.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Shane, he really, like, for one, AJ's awesome. And to me, he really did kind of keep up with AJ, and AJ really did guide him to a really good match. Like, that was, like, probably one of the best Shane matches I've seen.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. I mean, he was, like, putting AJ in submission moves. He was doing arm drag. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I don't know. I just always know Shane for just, like you said, jumping off of stuff or hitting people with stuff. Like, I've never known him to actually really wrestle like that. So, I don't know. I was really impressed with Shane.
Uh, do you feel like that was like the perfect match to start the show off? Like I guess like the not free portion of the show because I know they show the kickoff on like YouTube and other
Mm-hmm.
areas. Do you think that was a good way to start the show?
Yeah, just because, AJ is going to put on a good match. So, they probably was like, we'll start with AJ. Maybe that's what happened. Because, I mean, AJ is phenomenal.
The phenomenal one, yes.
Yes, he's awesome. So, yeah, I can see them starting with this match.
Because like like I'm gonna back it up for a second. Like to the kickoff matches, like I admit, like I was a little surprised they started out with the 205 live match first.
Really? I'm not.
I I guess I thought maybe it would have gone um in the actual card, like regular card.
No. The cruiserweights aren't over enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, where they started off, there were, like, people were still coming in. So I can
Right.
see them being like, okay, who do we want to put first when it's not as many people in the crowd? We'll put the cruiserweights here.
I agree. Cause
So
yeah, cause
yeah,
yeah, cause
so
the crowd looked kind of dead.
and it's a shame because Neville is awesome, and the match was really good.
Oh yeah.
Like Neville's gonna put on a good match regardless. So it was a really good match between Neville and Aries.
Oh, it was. I
Mm-hmm.
just know I need to see more 205 Live. Like the only episode I actually have seen was the first one,
Right.
and because I
See,
think yeah, I think that's the only one I've seen it first, and then I felt I forgot.
gotcha. Yeah, see, I watch it because it comes on in between SmackDown and Talking Smack.
Okay.
So immediately after SmackDown, I just go ahead and turn it on, and then Talking Smack comes on afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Did
So,
you?
but yeah, I don't know. I really liked the whole AJ Styles and Shane match. I think that the build up to the match was really good. Like I could understand why AJ was really pissed about the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. So
Because
what was the whole build up? I didn't know the entire story.
so basically, okay, so Randy Orton joined the Wyatt family, right?
Yes.
So Randy won the Royal Rumble, which gave him the number one contendership match at WrestleMania. And so then Bray won the title at the Elimination Chamber. So what happened was Randy, of course, he was playing Bray the whole time, but he was like, well, as long as you're the master and I'm the servant, I'm not going to fight you for the title. So he gave up his title match at WrestleMania. So they held kind of like a mini Rumble on SmackDown. And it was a tie between Luke Harper and AJ Styles. Like they both fell out the ring at the same time. So then they gave Luke and AJ a match, a singles match the next week to determine the number one contender. So AJ beat Luke and he became the number one contender for the match at WrestleMania. So then Randy finally turns on Bray, and then he's like, well, I want my match at WrestleMania because I'm not the servant no more. And so Shane was like, well, no, we're going to give this match to AJ. He deserves it. And Daniel Bryan was like, no, it should go to Randy. He won the Rumble. So then they made Randy and AJ fight for it. And Randy beat AJ. And so then AJ got mad because he's like, he's like, I basically won the number one title match. And now you're taking it away from me. And he's right. He has really put SmackDown on the map. So I can see why he's mad. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
He basically went through 3 matches and then lost, but really Randy gave up that match.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was the whole, and it was crazy because Shane was on AJ Styles, but he just, he took it out on somebody. He can't take it out on Daniel because his neck's messed up, so he took it out on Shane.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the real world things do come into play. That's true.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say his neck's messed up. He got the concussion situation.
Right. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. That's you know. I will say I would love to see Daniel wrestle again, but I'm happy they have him in the capacity that they do have him, and he seems to enjoy it from what I can tell.
I would never want to see him wrestle again because on Talking Smack, he basically made it sound like when his contract's up, he's going to go and wrestle somewhere else if WWE don't clear him.
So what was that whole Daniel Bryan, that 24 special saying, okay, he knows he can't wrestle no more. Are they changing that stance on him or?
No, like WWE is just not trying to have him wrestle, but he still wants to wrestle. But my thing is, I wouldn't personally want to ever watch him wrestle again because he still wrestles like he doesn't have issues.
Right. Yeah.
Like when he came back, you remember that ladder match he had for the Intercontinental title?
Yes.
Okay, I remember he did a spot at the top of the ladder, and he just started headbutting. I think it was Dolph Ziggler, and I mean, he's like headbutting. I'm like, dude, you have concussion issues. And then he had to like relinquish the title, like I think maybe a couple weeks later because of his concussions, and it's like he doesn't. I don't know. It's like he's not adjusted his style to his situation. So I just don't want to watch him wrestle.
I understand. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Like, yeah, I guess I had to remember all that. I didn't remember all of it, but you're right because like he does wrestle like kind of crazy. Not crazy, but he just goes all over the place.
Yeah, he wrestles like he doesn't have concussions.
And he knows he does. I mean, yeah. So,
Right. Exactly.
but
So
yeah,
so that was the whole that was the whole thing behind the whole AJ and Shane. AJ just felt like he was slighted, which he was.
mm-hmm.
So I think the match. Like I said, the story was there. I think the match lived up, exceeded expectations, and I think it was just like a good ending to that feud.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm glad AJ won.
Oh, I am too because that way you can kind of really put over your talent.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say one thing before we move to the next match. The New Day coming out, and the New Day were our hosts, and to come out
Uh-huh.
in Final Fantasy 14 cosplay attire, that was pretty fun.
Uh-huh. Well, that probably was on Xavier Woods, because
Yes,
do you ever see his gaming channel Up Up Down Down?
yeah, I love his channel.
Yeah, so he probably, because I'm not into the whole gaming situation, so I didn't realize that's what they were doing.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
thought
catch
he had
it.
it. Was his hair supposed to be like Goku?
I wasn't sure if it was like the Goku hair or something else, but I just remember I kept hearing, was it JBL I think it was Michael Cole saying it's like inspired by Final Fantasy 14 Stormborn or something, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but at first I just heard Final Fantasy, so I was thinking Final Fantasy 15. But no, that's not Final Fantasy 15. But okay, so I wasn't sure, and I was like, wait, it looks like Goku here. And for those listening, yeah, go find pictures online. It's really cool looking. So yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job hosting.
Oh yes, and even with their when they came out like they were ready to wrestle later on in the show,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good kind of like flip like oh are they about to introduce themselves in this match? But yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I don't know if you know about the whole situation that came out with the page video.
I heard about that. I didn't look too much into it, but I heard about it.
Yeah. I think that they're handling it really well. Like they kind of they allude to it without going into it too much.
Yeah.
And I think it's really stopping the fans from hijacking the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you know how a lot of fans are these days. They'll like take over a show with crazy chants.
Yeah, especially last night's Raw. Yes.
Right. So I think, the way they're handling it, they go ahead and make a little slick joke about it and then they move on from it. I think that's really stopping a lot of awkwardness and unnecessary stuff. So I think they're doing a good job handling that situation.
Yes, I agree. And
Yeah, because
I, I
they made a nod to it at the beginning of the show, and then that was it.
because I remember I think when I heard about it, there was an article that said that when that pre-tape segment like the next week on Raw, and Big E asked Xavier, "Is there anything you want to talk about?" And Xavier was like, "WrestleMania," and I guess that
Yeah, I
was
saw
them.
that. I thought it was handled well, and like I said, they did kind of make a little joke about it at the beginning of WrestleMania, and then they just, the crowd laughed, and it was it. So I think that they found a way to kind of stop the crowd from hijacking the whole situation.
So, can you tell a little bit about what went on for those who don't know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want to, if not, we can.
Yeah, this Paige was tagged, and there was a video of her with Xavier and Brad Maddox.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, she's, she was injured anyway.
Right.
So she wasn't going to be on TV. But, with Xavier being part of the New Day, they had to think of creative ways to stop the crowd from really being inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a good job kind of shutting it down.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I didn't really know too much about it. I was like, I think, like, is this true or not? But okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it was definitely true.
Okay. Well, they handled it well, and that, okay, well, bad transitions. But we're gonna take a quick break and continue on with more WrestleMania talk right after this.
All right.
Okay, we're back with more WrestleMania 33 talk. And before we continue on with the next match of Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, I wanted to ask Danny, like, how did you get into wrestling?
Well, I used to watch wrestling back during the Attitude Era. So I was really into wrestling heavy, and then I just got out of it. I don't know if it was, me going off to college, but I got out of wrestling. And so what happened was I went to my best friend's house, and she was watching Total Divas. And I never even heard of Total Divas. So I'm like, okay, well, let me check it out. So I start watching Total Divas and, love the show. And so after a while, after watching Total Divas, I'm like, well, let me tune in to WWE and see what they're doing on the show, just to kind of support the females up there. And so I start watching WWE, and, it sucked. It was horrible. But, I kept watching it because I'm like, well, I'm such a huge fan of Total Divas. I want to just, give it a chance. And so, the more I watched it, the better the product started getting. And so, yeah, that's what got me back into it. It was just Total Divas.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't hear a lot of people talk about Total Divas that often, so this is good to know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't give Total Divas the respect it deserves. Like, a lot of people especially hardcore, like, wrestling fans, they're just like, they're, I remember people used to make comments like, they're not real wrestlers, they're trying to be reality stars. And it's just like, you know what? They're getting more eyes on them, which is in turn making people maybe want to check them out on WWE. So it's a win-win situation. Like, I don't think the Bella Twins or Natty or Naomi or none of them would be as popular without Total Divas.
I agree.
Yeah, it annoys me a little bit when I hear people talk trash about the show, because it's a fun show.
Oh, it is. I mean, the few times I watched it, it's been like I've started to notice. Okay, so there's a new episode, or maybe like I'm not sure when, like maybe a couple years ago, and I watched one, and they were showing like a match they had recorded. They had been there filming it, and I was like, oh, I remember that. And I have to remember they're filming Total Divas months ahead of the time when they release it, so you have to remember what was going on then in the ring.
Right. So, that's what I'm saying. Total Divas. That's why, for me, the main matches I wanted to watch at WrestleMania were the women's matches.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm all in on women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And when we get to the Bayley, Sasha, Nia, Charlotte match, I'll say some things about that too.
Okay.
But the one else, I know we mentioned the pre-show earlier. I forgot to mention that Mojo Rawley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. So it's a long title. And Dean Ambrose defeated Baron Corbin and retained his Intercontinental Championship. So.
Yes, and okay, so first with the Andre, I know a lot of people thought that it was going to be either possibly Big Show, Braun Strowman, or possibly Luke Harper winning, but I think Mojo needed it. Like, he really needed something to kind of put him out there. I think right now Luke has a good thing going, with the whole Wyatt family situation and Randy Orton. And, Braun is interjecting himself into the main event a little bit on Raw. And Big Show is probably going to retire soon enough. So I think it was good that they gave it to, Mojo. And maybe he can kind of capitalize on it, kind of like Baron capitalized on it last year.
Right. And I think the only year where it didn't go over 100% was Cesaro's win, where they lumped Cesaro with Paul Heyman, which wasn't bad. It was just like, what are you gonna do with Cesaro now, who doesn't really need the Heyman push?
Yeah, I think Paul and Cesaro didn't go together well. So, but I think right now Cesaro's in a good spot with Sheamus. I think.
Yeah.
Me personally, I know a lot of people like push Cesaro to the main event. I think Cesaro works really good in tag teams.
I agree.
I loved Cesaro when he was with Tyson Kidd, and I'm really liking Sheamus and Cesaro together.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I agree.
So I think right now Cesaro's in a good spot as far as the tag team situation. He won the #1 contendership on Raw after WrestleMania, so I think this is good for Cesaro. But I'm hoping Mojo can go more the route of Baron Corbin. I think they really kind of pushed Baron a lot on SmackDown, so maybe it's Mojo's time.
Right, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's still with NXT, right?
Oh no, he's on SmackDown.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, you talking about Baron when he won?
Oh no, I'm talking about Mojo Rawley. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Mojo's on SmackDown. He was in a tag team with Zack Ryder.
Oh, I forgot that was him. Okay, so
the Hype Bros.
So why
what
was
happened was Zack got injured, and so now Mojo's just kind of floating.
So did they show him tonight on SmackDown? I didn't see all of it.
Oh, I didn't see all of it either.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out like where was he then? Okay. I guess I was thinking if he was still in NXT, it could be you push the championship, the statue over to NXT, you'll push more people to watch NXT. That's what I was thinking, but okay, I got you. Understandable. Okay.
Yeah.
But so back to the main card matches. We next had the United States Championship match. Oh, before I forget, I'm a Dean Ambrose fan, so I was happy to see him win and retain his title. I was like, yeah, that's good for him.
Yeah, I was happy to see him get a WrestleMania win too. I like Dean.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think his matches are okay. But I did like his character work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of.
The match was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like the greatest match, but I noticed when they do like the pre-show matches, it's the whole anybody watching can see this. You don't have to be a subscriber to the network, so we're not gonna like put all the stops on the pre-show matches.
Yeah, and then also, I know that during the match, like there was this spot that they did where when Dean won, where Baron was trying to put him in the end of days, and like he just like went so when he like went to do the end of days, it was like Dean flipped over it and then put him in the dirty deeds. That was pretty sick.
Gotcha. I have to go back and watch the pre-show again. Just like I can see like that match one more time.
Yeah. It was a good match, and also like what you were saying about how anybody can watch the pre-show.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't make the main card. Like they kind of look down on people who are on the pre-show. But, I look at it as like, if you're trying to entice those last minute people to maybe subscribe to the network to watch the pay-per-view, you do want to have good quality matches on the pre-show.
Oh, I agree. Dean.
So, I think they really trust Dean to put on a good match. And like you said, and like I was saying earlier, most of Neville matches are excellent.
Oh, I agree. And
yeah.
Dean, he was WWE Championship when I mean he was WWE champion when they did the brand split. So
Mhm.
and Neville's doing a great job as the 205 Live champion. So cruiserweight champion. Sorry. Yeah, he's doing a good job at that.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to mention about the whole Neville match, the only like thing I have like criticism I have about the Neville match is I feel like because you know how he does his suplexes, like he'll kind of like dead zip a person and then just throw them back.
Yes.
Like I feel like a lot of them really be landing on their necks.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, like that kind of that makes me a little nervous. And even when because it was on the pre-show, so after the match, like Jerry the King Lawler, he was like, oh, my neck hurt just watching that, and I'm like, I agree. Like he needs to really kind of control that a little better.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's just like really just like slinging people on their necks.
Yeah, he needs to work on that. But hey, he did put on a good match, but it was early in the night, so in case something did happen, he had time to recover.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, our next match was the United States Championship match with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho and the List of Jericho. Let me stop.
Oh, the list of Jericho.
Yes.
Yeah, the list is over for sure. But
Yes, it is beyond over.
yeah, yeah. Like I think it was a good match. I think it was a clean match. I mean, it won't necessarily for me. It's like I think Jericho's okay. I like his character work more than his like in ring work.
Mhm.
And I think for me personally, like I feel like Kevin Owens and like Baron Corbin, like I get talking trash, but it's kind of like, can you just wrestle a little bit? Like it's like after every move, they're just like, you make me say it's just like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't know, it just be too much for me with all the bantering during the match.
It kind of reminds me of like anime, like you look at like something like Dragon Ball Z, where it's like okay, there's always a joke about Dragon Ball Z of there's an episode spent of powering up and like person does like one move, but it's all this banter back and forth.
Right.
WWE is doing that in the ring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what it reminds me of? Now that you said that, it reminds me of like, you're watching a movie or a TV show and the villain finally has the good guy, and instead of just killing them, they start a monologue and they just start talking.
Yes.
And so then it gives the good guy like a chance to kind of get out of the situation and stop the villain. That's exactly, and it's stupid in the movies, and I hate when they do it in the ring. It's like, stop talking so much. Like you're spending like all this time running your mouth, and now he's gonna come back and possibly beat you. Which that's what happened with Baron Corbin. He was running his mouth, and Dean capitalized and beat him.
Exactly.
So that's the only thing. Like I wish they would just kind of. I mean, you can do it, but just kind of cut back on it a little bit.
Right, and then even with and then you got Kevin and Jericho. It's Kevin doing a lot of smack talk, and Chris will do it back and forth. But I think the ending was you probably needed to have Kevin over with that.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I enjoy, the friends of Jericho and their buddy thing, I think Chris is a veteran. Putting Kevin over was a good move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and like because like even before the match, I can't remember what they said. I think he's like some type of like one of 7 Grand Slams or something, like Jericho.
Yeah.
Like he's basically won every title. So it's like, he didn't need it.
No, he did. I mean, it was when he got the United States Championship a few months ago. It was like, good, you finally got your title.
Yeah.
And you had your run. Now give it to Owens, and he can run with it. And they'll probably feud again or move on to somebody else. But Chris can say, I'm a senior in the business. I got this title, and I'm moving on, and that's good. But
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. They definitely made the right move with KO. So, and the only other thing that I'll say about the match, I hate when they do like the power bomb on the apron.
yeah.
I just feel like it's such. I mean, I don't know how dangerous it is because I'm not a wrestler, but it just looks so dangerous to me. I hate watching it.
Yeah, it's like you see it, you feel it in the back of your back. It's like, oh yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, and then it's like he didn't even just like ram like Jericho into it. He like had Jericho up high, like Jericho was kind of on his shoulders, and then he just slammed him down into it.
Yeah, he did. That hurt.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was just like, that looks so dangerous to me.
Yeah, hey, but there comes that level of trust and ring awareness
Yeah,
and
yeah, they're
knowing.
professionals. It just looks dangerous.
Oh, it does, and that's why
Yeah,
they're the ones doing it, and I'm on the outside and can enjoy it. But I know, like, yeah, somebody hit me like that, I'm out. Bye, I'm gone.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But
but yeah, it was a decent match. I think the build up to the match was better than the actual match. Like I think all the shenanigans that like Chris and KO were doing, and then the Festival of Friendship breaking down. Like I think that was like I said, that build up to it like exceeded the match.
oh, it did. I mean, and I think that's always something I enjoy about WWE. Whether whichever show you look at, or shows on the network you look at, they're good storytellers. Sometimes they're not the best stories, but they have pretty good writers,
Yeah, that
and they it's all about selling that ticket. Getting that butt in the seat to go watch it live, or getting you to come back each week and watching it on TV. Uh,
yeah they have yeah. Especially I think SmackDown has really good writing.
I agree.
Yeah. So maybe the writing was so good it would be hard for the match to live up to the story. Like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you've been watching this great story, and then you're coming to the end, and you want that ending to just be fantastic, and then it just falls a little bit short.
Right. I think if this ending had been, maybe like another pay per view per se,
Mhm.
where it's just a Raw pay per view, you probably
Mhm.
could have devoted more time to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, it's like the specific pay per views, at least from the few I've seen, where like it's just a Raw pay per view versus a SmackDown pay per view. They're not always the greatest because it is one sided, but they are enjoyable.
Mhm.
But I enjoy the brand regardless.
Yeah.
But our next match we had was the Raw Women's Championship, which was a Fatal 4-Way elimination match, which was Bayley defeated Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks and Nia Jax.
Okay. So
Um,
okay. So the first thing I noticed were the entrances for these ladies, and I feel like I automatically knew Nia wasn't going to win just based off her entrance.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Okay, the first one out was Bayley, and so she has on this cool cape looking situation, and she's walking down, and they got Bayley on the ramp, and they have her little float things, like the little floating men or whatever inflatables, and they're behind her swinging, and she's walking. All of a sudden, you see the fireworks go off. And it's just a cool sight. And then she gets in the ring. Even more inflatable men start swinging in the crowd, and it was just a cool sight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Nia come down, and all thing you see is her video package, like her eyes and her song, and she's just walking, nothing, no fireworks, nothing. She's just walking.
Wow, I
Then
didn't
yeah,
catch that.
you know what I'm saying. Then you have Sasha, and Sasha comes out on like one of those old school looking cars that you would see in London. and she's like got her hand out to the crowd. Fireworks are going off. Like Sasha had probably to me, the second or third best entrance of the night. So here's Sasha got the fireworks going on, and then Charlotte comes out in all her glory with her robe, and then the best firework display of the night. And I was just like, well, we already know Nia ain't winning.
You know,
Y'all didn't give her nothing.
Speaking of Charlotte, I think I tweeted something like, "Yeah, Charlotte's gonna be going over to Storybrooke to go fight the Savior after this."
Charlotte's gonna do what?
She's gonna go over to Storybrooke on Once Upon a Time. I was like, yeah, she's gonna go. Uh-huh. She's gonna go to Storybrooke and fight the Savior next. Just because I was like, yeah.
I was just like, man, I'm like, they did Nia a little dirty on that. Like, they could at least give her a firework.
Yeah, they could have.
Like, everybody, especially Charlotte, like, everybody got fireworks, and oh my gosh, had these, like I said, Bayley had on her cool looking cape, and Charlotte had on her majestic robe, and here comes Sasha riding down in the little car, and then Nia just walked out.
Yeah. It's interesting. I didn't catch that, but you're right. I guess I caught because I actually was like trying to tweet stuff at the time, so I didn't see all the entrances. But I do remember seeing Sasha in the car, and then I saw Nia, but I just didn't realize that she didn't get as much attention as she deserved. But I do remember Charlotte. That's when I thought, once upon a time, she's gonna be the Evil Queen replacement, or she'll come and fight the Evil Queen later, or something like that. Like, oh, okay, but you're right. That does say something about a match before the match is going.
Yeah, like Nia got nothing. So I automatically knew she's gone. She's out. Like, period.
And I would say one thing. I was hoping for Bayley versus Sasha at the end. I was hoping for it. But
yeah, I think the crowd was too.
But I think it was a better move to have her fight Charlotte just because Charlotte has been the one to always win these pay-per-views the last few times. Every time she's been a pay-per-view, she wins. So I think if you look at it in that regard, it was better to have it be Bayley versus Charlotte, because Charlotte's supposed to be like the top dog on the chain in the women's division on Raw. So take out the Queen.
Yeah, I can see that. I think she has something to prove.
Right.
To Charlotte, because Charlotte's really been kind of berating her, making it seem like you don't belong here, you're nothing but a fan. So I think beating Charlotte, at WrestleMania was a good move.
Mm-hmm. Although I admit, for storytelling purposes, I halfway expected Raw last night to be okay. There was the women's tag match, and then I expected Sasha to just fight Bayley right at the end. I was like, he's gonna hit her right now. No, okay, I guess not.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wait for Charlotte to turn on Bayley, but I don't think it's gonna happen. No time soon, anyway.
Oh no, because they're the besties.
Yeah. So, but as far as the match goes, I really liked how they handled the Nia situation in the beginning.
Yeah.
When they did that whole big boot into the suplex, that was dope.
That was dope. I had to remember. I think about that for a second.
That was dope. That was really nice. And then when they did the triple powerbomb,
it's like, okay, we're gonna put aside our differences to take out this other opponent. Now back to ourselves.
Right, exactly. And then when they all had to kind of jump on top of her to get the pin.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. I really liked that. I really liked this match. I thought that was really cool. But I ain't gonna lie, I kind of felt bad for Nia a little bit when all three of them kind of started jumping her. When Sasha had one leg, and it was they were just coming from all directions really fast. I was like, oh my gosh.
Because it's kind of like that video game logic of okay, we're all going to take down this opponent right now, and now that they're defeated, everyone for themselves again. Cool.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, just seeing it, if she wasn't such a jerk, I would have really felt bad for her in that situation.
I agree. I was
looking, I was like, oh gosh, Like they're just like all over this woman, but you know she's something else. So I
And
can't be but so mad about it.
oh yeah, true. I mean, if they had given it to Naya, been okay, but I think she can get it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe later on, 2017, depending on where she still stands in the car in the company. She can have her title run later this year. It just needs to, they just need it to kind of, you know, you know, as I said, I think I said earlier, like WrestleMania, like probably even before we recorded. WrestleMania is kind of like it's the new year type thing. It's the beginning of the new season, so
Mhm.
it's like they're tying up, loose story threads. And then you can start something new where you can have that Nia thread and Nia rivalry. But I think I see it going Sasha versus Bailey, and then you got Dana in the mix now, so it could be the three of them feuding at some point. But you know,
Yeah, I would prefer Dana to be back with Emma, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
and I would love to see Dana versus Charlotte like officially, but
Mm-mm.
eventually, just for like the having a grudge match, sake of a grudge match.
I don't really personally think Dana's ready, but you know, maybe she could pull out something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I will say is one thing about Dana. And we to the next match is playing WWE 2K17 and like just playing with someone like doing like them in the women's storylines. It's
Mhm.
funny how they kind of put you up against Dana at first. It was like she becomes your rival, or at least that's how I went with making her like a rival for a character. And it was like they really showcased her strong. I mean, yeah, that's like my own storytelling, but it was just kind of funny of like they made Dana very strong in here. So it's like it kind of comes down to like the writers per se. I think in some cases.
I think Dana has great character work, but just in ring, not so much.
I agree. Uh,
Yeah.
but she'll grow.
Yeah, yeah, she will. And I know you were talking about the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have the video game, but I had saw like on YouTube what everybody looked like, and Dana looks crazy on that game.
Yeah, she does. Her eyes they don't
Yeah,
look right.
like Dana looks crazy, Naomi looks crazy.
Yeah, it's something about eyes that don't look right with certain people, or it's just the developers just need to improve on how they make the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just had to
otherwise,
say that because when you were talking about the game and Dana, I was like, oh, she looks so crazy on that game.
oh, that was my first thought too. I just didn't think I was. I thought I was kind of wondering if I was alone in that thought. But okay, yeah, you're right. But the next we had the next Raw match, which was saw the return of the Hardy Boys versus
Yes.
Luke Gallows, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Cesaro, Sheamus, and Enzo Amore and Big Cass.
Okay, so this was like, I don't know, this was like probably the hottest I felt besides when Naomi won the whole night. Because I'm telling you, when the Hardy Boys music started playing, because honestly, like I had heard rumors that the Hardys were supposed to be coming back, but I didn't hear rumors that they were going to be at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when the New Day came out, it was like, oh, we're going to add a fourth team. And, they got their gear on and they're walking to the ring. I'm like, oh, snap, New Day about to get into this. Why
Yep.
not? They ain't got nothing else to do, so why not? But man, when the Hardys music started playing, I started screaming.
Because I think for me, it's like it's always fun when you don't hear music for a while and you don't recognize it at first. It's like, wait, I know that. Oh my god, I know that.
Oh no, I knew it. I was like, oh, because like I was like a huge Hardys fan because like how back during the Attitude Era it was like the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys.
Yes.
So I was all in on the Hardys. Like that was my tag team. Like I felt I'm not that type of person. Like I'm gonna choose one. So I chose the Hardys, and I love Matt. Like most people like Jeff, I love Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I was really excited when I saw the Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah, I was too. It's always funny when that happens. It's like, yeah, they're gonna win. You know.
But I 100% because
Uh, yeah, I agree.
I mean they just got that, so you would think, well, maybe they'll give the WrestleMania moment to a new team.
True.
But I ain't
Yeah.
mad at them. I ain't mad at them about it.
Now, do you think, if they had lost last night on Raw, it would just been like, yeah, it was a WrestleMania moment, and then they go back wrestling for TNA.
Oh no, they're not going back there. They're with WWE now.
Yeah, I know, but it was just I was interested like when Raw was on last night. I was thinking, okay, they're gonna have the Gallows and Anderson are having their rematch now. Okay, I think they might retain, and the Hardys retain. I was like, okay, good. But yeah, I kind of wonder, would they use this as a service, putting somebody else over that really needs it? I mean, Sheamus and Cesaro were already champions.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping, before the Hardys showed up, I was hoping for Enzo and Big Cass to get it.
Yeah, because Enzo and Big Cass have never won a title.
Right. That's right.
Right. Mm-hmm. They've never won anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, they could have used that opportunity to kind of, reward Enzo and Big Cass a little bit.
Right.
Because I do know on Raw they are really big fixtures. Like, they do a lot of promos, and I've seen the KFC, the Georgia Gold commercial that they're in. So, they could have gave it to Enzo and Big Cass, but, like I said, I'm not mad that they gave it to the Hardys because the tag divisions have been kind of lacking, and it needed something. And I think like Matt and Jeff are going to be able to bring what that division needs.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
they're going to be able to they instantly legitimize that division.
Oh yes, I mean, and for those of us that that knew the Hardy Boys, it's just like, oh yeah, we're back to form. I mean, last year was it? Last couple years it was who just retired? The Dudley Boys.
The Dudleys, yeah.
Yeah, so they returned.
Yeah, actually, but the Dudleys never won the title. But honestly, like I feel like the Hardys can still go.
Oh,
like they impressed me. Like Jeff did that spot off that ladder.
Yeah, yep, that's what.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like I know the Dudleys wouldn't have been doing that.
No.
Yeah, so and don't get me wrong, I still I think it was great to see the Dudleys. I would love for them to have maybe a spot sometime in the future where Edge and Christian come out to cut a promo and the Dudleys are there also. Just to have all three of those tag teams in the ring together again, that would be awesome.
Right. Because I remember I'm trying to remember last year, like when the Dudleys retired, and then Gallows Anderson just laid them out in the ring. I was like, yeah, you can go out on top like that. The way people know you for it. They put them through the table. So I was like, okay. But I agree. I would love to have that promo of the teams together.
Just to have it, just to see it one more time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do it for the fans.
Yes, man, that would be so awesome. But yeah, I was so excited to see the Dudleys. I'm not Dudleys. I'm sorry. The Hardys, because like I said, the tag divisions just have needed something like on Raw and SmackDown, and they're going to bring it. They are going to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is not going to ignore that division anymore because the Hardys are back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
yeah. And because I was going to say, because I know some people were like, oh, like kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where they're like, is this fair to the other tag teams for the Hardys just to come back and automatically win the title? But I think the Hardys laid the groundwork, so I think it's very appropriate. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
The Hardys have paid their dues.
Right, and regardless if they keep it for until the next pay-per-view or longer, it's fine. Let them have for a lot of kids, they may not know who they are.
Yep, and I would like for them to eventually be drafted to SmackDown and win those tag titles too.
Yes, that would be
nice. Give them all the tag titles. You know what I mean? Like just so they can say that they have won all those tag titles. Because I was thinking about it today, and I was just like, there is literally a pay per view named after a match that they made popular.
Was that the
You know what I
TLC?
mean? So, like the TLC match.
Okay, I was thinking that you
Yeah,
said.
like table, ladders, and chairs. That pay per view is based off of the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. Like,
So.
give them the title. You know what I mean? Like, they still doing the TLC pay per view, like one of the popular pay per views. So, I think they could come in at any time and get the title.
Oh, I agree.
As long as they can still go.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree. Let's see. Next we had.
I was gonna say one more thing. But yeah, that match was amazing to me.
Oh, it was. I think what added to it was like the hypeness of the crowd.
Yeah, you know what? Sheamus and Cesaro are totally over too.
Oh yes, we didn't say anything about them, but yeah, they're over.
When Cesaro was doing the swing while Sheamus was beating on Gallows' chest, that was nice. Like, I think he beat on his chest for 30 beats.
Okay.
Was it 30, 20, or 30? It was one of the two, but the crowd was going crazy for it.
Yeah, that's when you know you have like your best crowd. It's like WrestleMania. Like usually that is like your crowd.
Yeah.
That and Monday night after WrestleMania. But yeah, I agree. I think because I have to go back and watch it because I don't remember everything because it was just a very wild, fun evening. But yes.
Mm-hmm.
But our next match we had was the mixed tag team match, with the SmackDown match with John Cena and Nikki Bella, who defeated The Miz and Maurice, and ended with a proposal, which we all weren't surprised about.
No, I don't think nobody was surprised about it because they've been leading up to it. Honestly, if he hadn't proposed, I would have been mad. I would have been offended. Like, I would have wanted her to break up with him if he didn't propose to her. Because, like, I just feel like towards the end of the whole program, because, like, again, this match had great storytelling leading up to it. And that's one of the things I thought, like, there were just great stories for a lot of these matches. So this match had really good storytelling. I feel like the match fell a little short, but then the proposal, paid everything off.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it's like early in the afternoon. Like I saw on ESPN, they had was it John and Nikki with Coach, and they were talking about the match. Coach asked John, his thoughts on the match, and he asked Nikki. And as Nikki's talking, John is like, "Give me a kiss." I was like, "Are you two? Y'all need a minute?"
well, my whole issue,
but yeah,
like when I was saying like if he didn't propose, I would have been mad. It was like my whole thing was, I know she's on Total Divas, and then she did a spinoff Total Bellas, which I didn't watch Total Bellas, but because I don't watch Total Divas just for Nikki and Brie.
Right.
I want to just watch Total Bellas because they're cool, but I don't want to watch a whole show focused on them. But the whole time they've done the whole Total Divas, Total Bellas thing. A huge theme is that she wants to get married. She wants kids, stuff like that. So I know you said you don't watch SmackDown, but over the last couple of months, whenever Nikki has feuded with anyone, they throw the fact that John won't marry her in her face.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it will be like, okay, it kind of started a little bit with Carmella. Like, Carmella talked about John, but she didn't per se say too much about John not marrying her. She just basically was alluding to the fact that Nikki got where she was because of John.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. So then, after the Carmella feud that Nikki won, Nikki went on the feud with Natty. So Natty took it to the next level. And so, she would just be like, and that's why John will never marry you, and you're going to end up being an old lady. I mean, just, saying little things like that. So I'm just like, that's kind of messed up, but, if Nikki's okay with it, I'm great with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like 100 notches with Miz and Maurice. So Miz and Maurice started doing these spoof videos of like the Total Bellas, where Miz was John Cena, Maurice was Nikki, and sometimes she would be Brie. And I mean, you know, picking on the fact that Nikki wanted to get married and John was like, no. So, you know, at first it's like, okay, you know, they're, you know, taking the rib, they're just being stupid. You get what I'm saying? But then at the end of the last Total Bella spoof that they did, like Miz took off the John Cena gear, Maurice took off the Nikki gear, and they just started like ripping into them, like ripping into their relationship. Like, oh my god, it was horrible. But I felt uncomfortable watching it. And I know a lot of people liked it, but it was just, I don't know, it just was too much to me.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, they definitely crossed that line. And so if she didn't get engaged, I would have been mad. Because then it would have been like, what was the point of, you know, putting her through all those horrible promos that she had to go through?
I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, when I tell you, like, you need to go back and watch it. Like the part where Miz and Maurice, when they just took off the wigs and started talking as themselves, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, it just got uncomfortable. And so then after it aired, you know, Nikki and John came out and, you know, John gave her a kiss on the forehead. And it seemed like he was trying to reassure her and stuff. And, you know, she had a smile on her face, but she didn't even speak during the whole situation. And I was just like, it was too much. So, you know, I'm glad that he did propose. I don't know if, you know, he already had proposed and they just decided to make it a WrestleMania moment. But, yeah, that needed to be paid off. All that stuff that they were doing.
Because I'm gonna say two things. Like me watching SmackDown is like, it's just weird. It's like I record it and then my DVR is like, you need space. So I would just skim through it. But it's like I really need to go back and watch these moments. But
it was a lot. It was. I know a lot of people liked it, and you know, at first I was cool with it. I just think they might have took it a little too far in the last video at the end. But like I said, it was a decent match.
Mm-hmm.
Like Miz, everybody was loving the Miz.
And you remember, everybody used to boo the Miz, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I think the Miz, like the brand split, has been the best thing to happen to the Miz.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Seriously. Yeah, like seriously. So, you know, everybody was loving the Miz. And I know a couple people were, you know, wanting to see more like Nikki and Maurice.
Right.
But then, you know, Nikki is injured, so she's out.
Right, so yeah, she just did, you know, what she needed to do for the match, but
yeah, Nikki wasn't going to be able to do too much because I don't know, at what point she re-injured her neck.
That's true. But, she did.
Yeah. So Nikki has that same problem I think Daniel Bryan got.
Oh
yeah. You know what I mean? Like Nikki went out because you know of her neck issues, and she was doing the rack attack, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, you know, I want to make a comeback, but I have to change my finisher. I can't do this finisher no more. But then she chooses another finisher where she's still putting people on her shoulders.
That's not changing much.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not changing much. No.
You're not dropping to your knees, but I mean, you still are like lifting people up on your shoulders, and you know you got a repaired neck. And I don't know if this is what might have injured her. This is what I personally think, but a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, she lifted up Tyler Breeze.
Wow.
And did her finisher on Tyler Breeze.
Okay.
And then after that episode aired, that's when it kind of seemed like all the rumors about her neck being messed up came out again. Because when she picked him up and did a finisher, I was like, why is she picking up Tyler Breeze?
Yeah, I mean
So,
he's not really big of a person, but still, yeah,
I mean, he's not as big as John, but he's bigger than Daniel.
that's true. He is.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. It was just too much. So I think that Nikki and Maurice were probably never going to really get in the ring during this match that much. And the fact that Maurice hasn't had a match in so long, they probably didn't want something to possibly go wrong in the ring between Nikki and Maurice.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like it would be one thing if maybe it was like Becky. Maybe they might feel Becky or like Natty.
Right. Yeah.
Especially, I would say Natty because Natty seems to me to be a very safe worker. So if it was somebody like Natty, maybe she would have got in the ring more. But with Maurice not having wrestled in so long, I just don't think it would have been a good idea, just in case.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, but for what it was, I think I know a lot of people are mad that Miz and Maurice didn't win, but because they felt like I guess like I don't know. I think some people felt like the Miz and Maurice needed it more, but I feel like they made Nikki look kind of foolish in their videos, and so I'm not mad that they lost. I feel like Miz and Maurice had the upper hand during the whole build to the match. So I think the payoff was to have John and Nikki win, and then John propose.
Is going back to what you're saying, like Nikki's feuds over the last few months. Do you think this was like the plan all along? Starting it small, the small build up to where it got with Miz and Maurice.
Yeah, and my thing is, yeah, the SmackDown's really good at telling stories. And see, the thing is, John said that nobody knew but one person. But I'm just like, somebody had to have known because the whole time Nikki's been back, her when she's feuding with people, it has always centered around. They've always fought John into the situation, and
Right.
they have always kind of mocked her for not being engaged or married to John. So I think maybe the one person he told was somebody on creative, and they just decided, okay, well we'll do this and build sympathy for Nikki, and then it'll pay off at WrestleMania. We'll give her this huge WrestleMania moment.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, John is not going to be around because he's filming a movie, and Nikki is going to be out because she's nursing her neck.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there was only but so much they could do in this match.
But it was still a great match.
Yeah, it was a cute little match. It was a cute match.
And then ending, they both do five knuckle shuffles, and then
Yeah, that's cute.
the
And then I like when they ran to the ramp together.
yeah, and then they did the double pin. I was like, okay, how nice.
Yeah, it's super cute.
But on that note, we're gonna take one more break and continue on with more WrestleMania talk after this. Hey everybody, we're back and we'll continue on with more WrestleMania 33 talk. And our next match to cover was the non-sanctioned match between Seth Rollins and Triple H, which Seth Rollins won. And the ending of the match saw Stephanie McMahon knocked through a table and Seth Rollins pedigree Triple H.
Yes. So my first thought with this match was like the entrances were amazing.
Yes.
Like I'm really big on entrances, as you can tell. So like Triple H, I loved it. Like him on the bike, Stephanie behind him. Stephanie looked great. That's one of the best I've seen Stephanie look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not me trying to say she's not a nice looking woman, but Stephanie looks amazing. And so, they had the police fight in front of them. I love their entrance. And then, Seth came out and he had the torch, and then he, puts the torch to the ground, and then you could see the fire go up the whole ramp. That was nice.
Yeah, I love it too because it's funny. I tweeted, I was like, We're now at the WWE 2017 Olympic Games, and then that happened right there. Right there, sent the tweet. I was like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah, and now I will say this. I feel like this match was kind of like, I feel like the matches before this were better than all the matches after this, for the most part, kind of.
I agree.
Or maybe not all of them, because I did enjoy Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, and I enjoyed the six pack. I just feel like Triple H and Rollins, Randy and Bray, they were, I don't know, they were missing a little something for me. So that kind of made the back half not as good as the first.
Understandable.
Yeah. So, but Triple H and Rollins, the main thing for me with this is I feel like it was too long. Like they could
Yeah.
have shaved off. Yeah, they could have shaved off a good 5 or 10 minutes of this match and gave it to Randy and Bray, or even giving it to the six pack.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I literally think if they had took 10 minutes, because how long was this match? This match was really long to me.
Let me see if I can find out how long it is. I'm gonna look, but yeah, it did seem long.
Yeah, I mean, if the match was like, say the match is 20 minutes, honestly, they could have took 10 minutes off of it, and I would have been okay with that.
Because
Take 10 minutes off of your match, put 5 minutes on the side of the six pack match, and put 5 minutes on Bray and Randy.
I agree.
Yeah, because a lot of I've noticed this that a lot of, to me, Triple H matches are kind of slow and methodical. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Not a lot of fast pace to it. I just don't know. It was just it was just a little too long for my taste.
I wonder it's because Triple H doesn't wrestle as much, so it's like okay.
Maybe. I mean, it was an okay match. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It was just a little too long. And I'm glad it's over. I'm glad Seth is done with the Authority. Hopefully.
I hope so.
Yeah. And that's about all I have to say about it. I'm glad, and I'm also glad that Seth, finally got to perform at. Well, actually, no, that's not his first performance because he cashed in on who did he cash in on? Roman.
I think so.
Yeah, he cashed in on no, he cashed in his Money in the Bank and pinned Roman to get the title off of Brock.
That's right. Because it was Roman versus Brock, and then Seth came in. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So but I'm glad that he finally is hopefully done with the Authority, and we can move on.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all.
And moving to the next match, which was the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which Naomi defeated Alexa Bliss, Natalya, Carmella, Mickie James, and Becky Lynch. Now, there was one thing I thought before this match happened. So during the Triple H match, I was sitting there thinking, did I miss the SmackDown Women's match? I kept thinking, I was like, I know I tuned in like the pre-show maybe like 10 minutes or so after it started, but when I tuned in, they were just talking at like the round table. And I thought I remember seeing something like the women's matches were going to be on the pre-show. I was like, I hope not. So as the night kept going on, I was like, where's the women's match? I'm confused. So when it popped up, when it did, I was like, okay, good. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, I thought I was afraid it was going to be cut, but I'm glad it wasn't. But you know how I was saying with Nia Jax, I knew she was going to lose by her entrance.
Yeah.
I knew Naomi was going to win with hers.
Oh yeah, especially because she came out last, right?
She came out last, and she got a full entrance, whereas everybody else got half an entrance.
That's true, she did.
Yeah, like if you when the ladies came out, for the most part, Naomi got, like I said, Naomi got the full entrance. Alexa Bliss, she got, I think her thing lasted until she got up to the ring. And then, after Alexa, I think it was maybe Becky who came out. And so once Becky got halfway, it went to Mickey. Then when Mickey got halfway, it went to Carmella. Carmella gets halfway, goes to Maddie. Maddie gets halfway, and it just turns to Naomi. And it stays Naomi until she literally gets in the ring, still Naomi while she's in the ring. And, I mean, it was like just full-blown Naomi. I was like, she's winning.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that too. And
yeah, like she won. Like the match is over, she won. Like it was awesome.
Cause when she who was she pinned? Was it Alexa Bliss she pinned?
Yeah, she pinned Alexa.
Right. But yeah, when she pinned her, I was like, good, cause I'm like, yeah, you got your title back. Congratulations. That.
Yes.
And then I would say since we saw most of SmackDown tonight, she retained her title, so even better.
Right.
But
and I was actually nervous when I saw that she was actually defending the title against Alexa tonight, because I was like, oh my gosh, because she's already beat Alexa like 4 times, and I was like, and this would be the night Alexa would beat Naomi. But I'm so glad she did, and I think Alexa actually looked good tonight on SmackDown. So that's a great thing, because they made Alexa look really strong in her defeat. So at least she has that. But as far as the 6-pack, I thought it was a fun match. I know some people online didn't like it because they felt like the women didn't get enough time. Which I could have watched another good 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
If they could have took 5 minutes off Triple H and Rollins and gave it to the women, that would have been great.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think that came on around like 10:30, 10:40.
I can't remember what time it was. It was really late though.
Yeah.
And but I do know that Becky looked great in the match.
Right, I think it came on around 11.
Yeah, Becky looked really good. Like as far as like wrestling, she got, to me, I think she spent the most time out of all the women in the actual match wrestling. To me, anyway, that's how it felt.
Sure.
Yeah, she did a really good job. I think that Becky had a really strong showing, and I know I was telling you earlier, but like when James Ellsworth was about to do Sweet Chin music on Becky, I was about to fall out. I was like, I know this dude ain't about to super kick her in the face.
Oh yeah, and WWE does not want to have like that lawsuit,
I was like, I cannot believe this right now. Like he literally started stomping his feet, like started kind of moving his hand, like come on. And I was like, this dude is really gonna try to super kick her, and he tried.
Yep.
And like I don't mind interference in the matches. I don't mind the guys interfering because the women interfere in the men's matches. You know what I mean? Like Maurice will interfere on behalf of Miz, Lana will interfere on behalf of Rusev. So I'm not mad if Ellsworth wants to interfere on behalf of Carmella, but I think there's a line. I don't think you should actually be trying to super kick people.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I agree. Like, no, that's a line you can't cross. Oh no.
Yeah. If you want to grab somebody's feet, okay, that's still a little crossing it, but it's not as bad as you really gearing up to kick her in the face.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ric Flair grabbing somebody's feet to hold them back. Okay, that's a little close, but he's not about to hit somebody or kick them.
Right. I mean, literally, he actually swung his leg to kick her, and like Becky caught it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe it, because I was thinking when it was happening, like he's like, stomping his feet like he's Shawn Michaels. I'm like, okay, so what's probably gonna happen is when Becky turns around, he's probably gonna be like, you know what, I'm doing too much, let me stop. Or she was stopping I just thought she was gonna stop him in the track. No, she turned around and he like went for it. I was like, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I will say one thing about James Ellsworth, and then we'll move on to our next match, is that when he had his debut months ago on Raw, and like that, is that local talent match against Braun Strowman, and how he got over with the fans and the internet with his catchphrase, like with a man with two hands, I got a chance, something like that. I was like, the internet got him over so fast.
Right.
And then they had him pretty much in the title run against Dean and AJ Styles. Like, that was good. You got him over, you got him in the company, and to where he is now, he can take that break and grow. But I do want to say I am very happy for Naomi to have her title fine, like
Yeah.
officially not having to give it up right after she got it last time because of injury. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very pleased, and I hope that they let her keep it for a few months.
I just think because I ain't gonna front. I'm probably gonna be nervous every time she got a match. I'm just gonna be scared every time. Like, oh Lord, this is gonna be the day.
Yeah, same here.
Uh, yeah. So I was really happy. But like I said, like I was kind of nervous going to WrestleMania, but then when I saw her entrance, I was like, we are good to go. Like she's gonna win.
Oh, most definitely, definitely. But it can only go up from here. But
Exactly.
but next we had the WWE Championship match, was Randy Orton defeated Bray Wyatt, who was the former champion. And I would say, I know I had kind of fallen off on watching SmackDown, but I did enjoy having Bray as champion. But I would say him doing like his poses in the ring, and then they would show like the stuff in the ring. That
So
kind of
you
get
talking
that.
about like the maggots and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's creepy, man. That's creepy.
It was creepy. It was creepy. But you know, okay, at first I saw the match and I didn't like the match. So I went back and I rewatched the match. And I was just like, you know what, this is actually not a bad match. But I think it's one of those matches that you do have to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I rewatched it and I really paid attention to it. I was like, this is like a really good match because I felt like the match went along with the storyline.
It did.
Well, yeah, like the storyline the whole time has been this whole supernatural, spooky, like I'm gonna burn down your house and I'm gonna bathe in Sister Abigail. So like the fact you have worms and maggots and stuff on the ring, that it just fit.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen it, it wasn't actual worms and maggots. It was like superimposed images on like from a camera onto the ring, and the crowd was like, oh my god, that was cool. So yeah, it wasn't real bugs. That's wonder.
Yeah, and every time they would show like the bugs and stuff on the ring, like the crowd was like, oh, and I don't know, I liked it. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know, it just matched to me. It was like very Bray Wyatt-ish. I
it
liked
was,
it.
and even with Bray's entrance, like if you had done that match when the sun was out, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
Like doing that, dead. No, it's like after 11. I mean, it was like after 10, or maybe it was like a little after 11. I'm not sure what time it was, but it's night. It's nighttime, and so that happens. You're in that arena that it's like an open arena, and so you can really get his firefly effect across with the crowd.
Yeah.
And then Randy coming down the ramp with like, walking over top of the snake. I was like, that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I just feel like Bray should have won.
So like
I feel
he
like
should have
I feel
retained.
like Bray needed it more than Randy did.
I agree because Randy's been champion before. Yeah, and
Yeah, I don't know, like, Randy, he's like what now, a 13-time champion?
yeah, like he's close to Ric Flair and Cena.
Or 12, 13, something like that. But I mean, I just don't feel like he needed another run. I really don't. I feel like, they've done like SmackDown's done a really good job rebuilding the Wyatt family. And, Bray and Randy, they won the tag team titles. And that was like Bray's first championship.
Right.
And I think they maybe had one title defense and they lost it. They lost it to American Alpha like maybe a week or two later. So for him to turn around, and I mean he did defend the title before, but I just feel like he didn't have a long reign with it, and I would like to see Bray really get a long run with the title.
I would too. I mean, I think by having I agree with you. I think by having Randy win it, Bray's quest for vengeance, if you will.
Mhm.
With Randy, I know what the story is. Randy burned down the Wyatt family compound, and these one like the things I remember seeing. It's like, okay, this gives Bray more fuel to like, I'm coming after you, Randy. I'm gonna make your life, proverbial living hell,
Right.
and make Randy really have voices in his talking in his head. Make him go along with the character. Really mess with him, and you could really play the angle up storytelling wise. And then where the ending is, you give Bray back his title, and it's like maybe from the standpoint of you desecrated my sisters, and because Sister Abigail was dead, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
I didn't realize she was gonna be dead, but
I I kind of always thought she was dead, but I wasn't really sure.
I thought she was like, I don't know. I thought she was. I didn't think she would be dead. I thought she was gonna eventually show up.
Right.
But she's dead, and he bathed in her. Like he rubbed the dirt off on his face and stuff. So I don't. I just wish they would have gave Bray a shot.
Oh,
But
I agree.
I think the crowd wanted Bray to win too.
Oh, I did too. I mean, I'm a Wyatt fan. I've always been a fan of Bray's promos.
Yeah.
But it's from recently when I saw the night on SmackDown, and they're doing a good job. The Wyatt family versus Randy, but there's Luke Harper on Randy's side, so it's interesting.
Mhm.
But because Eric Rowan's back now, so it's like
Yep.
it's interesting. So, and it would just
Yeah.
be maybe a little better if Ron Strowman could just show up every now and then, like help out the family. But
Yeah, because I was thinking that would have been really cool if like they're doing the whole thing with the maggots and stuff on the ring, and then because whenever they would put the bugs and stuff on the ring, it would kind of go dark,
yeah,
and that was all you could really see, and you would see like Randy laying on the mat, and it would have been cool when the lights came back up, like you had his family around the ring.
yeah, and that could
So,
have
yeah, because Braun was there. Braun could have showed up because even though he's doing his thing on Raw, he could have still just showed up to support Bray because Bray's the one who bought him out. And then
exactly.
Rowan could have showed up, and I don't know what they could have done with Luke. It would have been cool, but I guess Bray's burnt that bridge.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you could have had like that interference on that part helping out Randy, and that could have set up for SmackDown tonight. But it's you can't think of everything. I guess you can't.
Nah, it would
But
have been dope though. At
yeah.
least I have Braun and Rowan in Bray's corner.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because it would have been nice for Bray to get a good run, but I guess it is what it is. They're still feuding, so maybe he'll get the title back.
Hey, we can only hope.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Next, we're down to our final two matches of the evening. Which the next one was the Universal Championship match where Brock Lesnar defeated Goldberg.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, people, I don't have a chant in the background, so sue me. But anyway,
I really like this match.
I did too.
It was just fun. You know what I mean? It was fun, and it was like the other Brock Lesnar matches have done nothing for me, and the Goldberg matches had done nothing for me. So I wasn't really looking forward to this match, but it was like a really fun match. It wasn't super long. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's funny. I think I tweeted something out like, "Oh, this could be from the get go, like doing the suplexes." I was like, "Oh, this is some like Dragon Ball Z level fight right now." Okay.
Yeah, man. Okay, now the best part was like, okay, so Brock is suplexing Goldberg, taking him to Suplex City. And so all of a sudden, like, he had just suplexed Goldberg. And then, they show Brock, and the next thing you know, he just got speared out of nowhere.
Huh.
That was a nice. I was like, oh snap, this is a riddle match. That's what I was saying. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like really happy that match turned out as well as it did.
Cause what was that? What was that Survivor Series when Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in like a minute 20 some seconds?
Yeah, see, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm not into like not. I don't like squashes with your main eventers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to see somebody in the main event get squashed, like completely squashed. Like when Brock first came back, you remember that match he had with John Cena, and he completely squashed him.
Yes.
And they created the whole suplex city and stuff like that from that match. I hated it.
Yeah.
It started to make me uncomfortable. At first, it was kind of cool, and then I was just like, oh gosh, like I'm really not trying to watch, Cena just get punked out like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when Brock, when he had his match against Randy, and then he like busted Randy open, hated it.
What pay per view was that? 'Cause I don't remember.
I don't remember which one it was. I did not like it. I mean, don't be wrong. I mean, I know somebody's got to lose, but I also don't want him to look like a punk in the process. And you're supposed to be, a main eventer.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's just my personal preference.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, I think no wait, that wasn't Survivor. So wait, no, it was one of the. Oh, wait, so wait, no, it was Brock versus Goldberg was Survivor Series. Was it before that? Because it was one of those like no, was that Royal Rumble?
Oh, it definitely won't Royal Rumble because Randy won that.
Okay, so it was somewhere between Survivor Series and beginning of this year. I feel like it was. Or
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
don't.
no. Wait a minute. It was after the brand split last
Yeah,
year.
I don't remember when it was.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
yeah. I didn't either. I mean, I heard about it, but I'm gonna go back and find it. I mean, it's like this. I didn't see it, but I heard it was gruesome.
Yeah, and so I thought this was Goldberg's best match since he's
Mm.
been back in the WWE, and I think it's Brock's best match.
Yes, I mean, I admit I'm not the biggest Brock Lesnar fan, but
Mm-hmm.
but I have respect for him for that match.
Yeah, that match was cool.
Uh, and the only thing, he's in that category of the part timer, so it's like he has the championship now. What you gonna do?
Right. So
What you
what's
gonna?
gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think having given Goldberg the title was cool. It's like let him have it for a bit, and then he'll give it. I kind of figured he's gonna lose to Brock Lesnar. I kind of figured he had beat Brock the last few times. Like he's gonna lose now. It's fine. But I mean, even did you see Raw Talk last night?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, seeing Goldberg talk at the end, that was heartwarming.
Yeah, because I
And
think he basically kind of semi-retired.
right, yeah, he did. And I know at the end he said, never say never, but that was it. I like when he started out saying, this is not part of the show. This is me being real. I I,
Yeah,
I
and
appreciate that.
I do like the fact that the crowd respected him and let him speak. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
crowd can kind of take over the situation sometimes. So I appreciated that. It was like I said, it was almost like Undertaker retired, kind of like Goldberg retired.
Mm,
It was a lot going on.
yeah, and with that, we can transition to our next match, the Roman Reigns defeating Goldberg. I mean, Undertaker match. That was the last night match of the evening, and that was a wonderful match. But it's having Undertaker retire. I didn't think
Yeah,
I expected it then, but I figured it was gonna happen in the next couple of years maybe. But that ending, like I think I missed it when he put on the coat and hat, and then I noticed like, oh, he has the coat and hat on, and then he starts taking off the gloves. I was like, oh, I think you're retired. And then when he took off the first glove, I wasn't really sure. And he took off the second one, I was like, I think so. And he took off the jacket, I was like, oh, I think you're retiring, dude.
yeah. It was an emotional match,
Yes.
but it was like okay. First of all, I really liked Roman's entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he came out and then he, do the fist to the ground and then the fireworks kind of lit up. down the ramp and then shot up from the stadium. That was hot.
Yes.
So I will say that I really like his entrance. I think that was a pretty heavy task to give Roman to be Undertaker's last match.
I agree.
Because you know how crowds are with Roman anyway, so you automatically know if he retires Undertaker, the crowd is going to eat him alive.
As they did last night, yes.
Oh yeah, I loved it though. I loved it. He was just like, "This is my yard now."
And then
loved it. Yeah,
drop.
And then just walked off. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I like Roman.
Yeah, I do too. It's just, I think in some regards they're trying to make him the next Cena, which is not going to work, or it's not working right now.
No, I don't think he's going to be the next Cena. Because I think Cena still works under the guise of I'm a good guy.
Right.
Where Roman is like, I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm the guy.
Yeah, it's like that arrogant, kid in school.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's all about me.
I feel like Cena is more like, I don't know, I feel like Cena comes across a little bit more like appearances. Kind of like, I ain't gonna front. I feel like some of what the Miz was saying was true. Like, Cena does a lot of stuff for appearances. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, he is the #1 Make-A-Wish
grantor. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he doesn't do that from his heart, but I'm saying I do think appearances are important to Cena. Whereas I think with Roman, not so much.
Right. I mean, I think I've only seen Roman in the commercial with him and his daughter.
Yeah, that was a cute little commercial, and that's when they were trying to make him a face. But I think now he's to the point where he's just like, I'm just doing what I got to do. You can like it or love it, or hate it or leave it, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
You can like it or you can hate it. I'ma do me. That's where Roman is right now. I feel like, and that's not how John is.
No, John is
it's
company.
John. I mean. Like, John knows, I don't know how to explain John. I just feel like, like I said, he does a lot of stuff for appearances and Roman doesn't.
But speaking back to the match for a second, like entrances, the Undertaker's entrance. I kind of actually before I talk about his entrance in the match, I want to say it was like WWE 2K14 or 15. I'm not sure which one because I haven't gotten them all in the last few years. But there was that mode where it said, beat the streak mode. And looking back on it, that came out before that came out in October before next WrestleMania where Brock beat Undertaker. And when you look at it like that, and from like a certain point of view, it's like, were they already trying to tell you that it was going to happen beforehand?
I mean, I guess it had to happen eventually.
Oh yeah, I knew it had to happen eventually, but it's like when you look at the game that comes out beforehand, before it actually happens, and then it happens. It's like, are they trying to prepare you for it subtly? They're like, hey, we're gonna give you a chance to do it on your own, so you can be like, I beat him, and when it happens for real, you won't be so upset. That's just my, I guess, trying to get into the minds of corporate world. But do you think it should have been Roman?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who else should have done it. Yeah, I think it should have been Roman.
Or do you think his first loss should have been to CM Punk versus Brock?
Who you talking about, Undertaker?
Yeah, Undertaker. Yes.
No. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't watching wrestling when CM Punk was there, so I can't say.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not one of these like CM Punk. I'm not one of them people because I wasn't there for it. But I mean, as big as Undertaker is, it wouldn't have looked realistic to me.
Yeah.
It looks realistic to me that the two people who beat him are kind of are bigger men. Like Brock is huge, and Roman's no slouch. You get what I'm saying?
Right, I got you.
Yeah, I couldn't see like CM Punk or like Daniel Bryan or somebody like that beating Undertaker realistically.
Yeah, maybe video game wise, but not.
Yeah. I know it's the size of the fight and the dog, but I still couldn't see it.
I agree. I mean, even when you look at like from the storytelling standpoint, saying this is my yard now. I guess when you look at it like that, it's like okay, what other story can you do other than like I'm taking your spot?
Yeah. And so, like I said, me personally, I like Roman. I think Roman puts on entertaining matches. I think a lot of people get caught up in this whole heel face situation. Like, oh, they want him to be the face of the company, but they need to turn him heel. And I just feel like he's whatever you want him to be. Like, to some people, he is a face. To some people, he's a heel. Just go with it. Whatever you think he is, that's what he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see Roman as like he's one of those few wrestlers that are in that gray area.
Yeah, that's how I look at him too. Like he is like I don't think he's gonna outwardly do something heelish, but he might say something that's kind of cocky and might come across like a jerk.
Right.
But he ain't gonna like cheat or do anything like that.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. It's just to me, it's just like real life. Like you like some people and some people you don't like. It don't necessarily mean that they're horrible people. It just means you ain't cool. You don't click with that person.
Oh, definitely. I mean that's life.
Yeah, so that's how I look at Roman. He's just like a realistic character. Either you like him or you don't. I don't think you got to put no assignment on him.
Oh no, I mean I think where he goes from here, he's gonna always have that heat on him, no matter
Oh yeah.
no matter how good his matches are. He's gonna always have that. You beat Undertaker, you retired him. But I think there's that rumor saying that Undertaker picks who he wants to win or lose against.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So if he said, "I want to go out losing to Roman, this will put him over," then that's a good company person
Yeah.
or a good worker. I'm not sure what the right phrase for it, but he that shows he has a lot of respect for the talent.
Yeah, and I think as far as the match go, I think having Jr. on commentary,
Yeah.
kind of added to like the deepness of the moment.
You know what? I kind of figured something was going to happen when JR came out. I was like, I ain't seen him in a minute.
Yeah. So, having JR there. And so, as far as the match, when the match first started, Undertaker looked great.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, he is working Roman over. Like, he looked really good. I really thought he looked good. And then towards the end of it, I was like, this is uncomfortable for me to watch.
Yes, he kept getting speared and speared and speared.
And then it was like, you know how he would like, when he would be on his back, then he would just kind of like pop up.
Yeah.
When he tried that last pop up and he fell back down, I said, oh my goodness.
You remember that one spot? I'm not sure what Roman calls it. They call it when he runs around the ring and jumps up and wants to kick the person, and they're on the side of the ring.
Drive by.
Yeah, and then Undertaker was like, nope, and just punched and knocked him down.
Yeah.
That got me like, oh shoot, yeah, Roman, you can't do that all the time, dude, because it's gonna work a lot, but not this time.
Yeah, I think he did come out the gate looking good, but yeah, it towards the end, it was just it was sad to see.
Yeah, it was.
Because that's somebody a lot of people grew up watching, and he always had this mystique about him, and his whole thing was, he just was supernatural. So to see him finally lay it down,
right?
It was touching, but at the end where Roman ran the ropes and then hit the spear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was to me that was a good way to end the match.
And and with Roman leaving the ring when he did, I felt like I halfway expected Undertaker to like get up at that point, but when I and then when Roman left and the crowds were saying thank you Taker and so I started thinking, okay, yeah, Roman left. This is Undertaker's moment. Something is probably going to happen right now. But I know I said I come back to the entrance. Like his entrance, it felt longer than usual, but I usually don't care when it comes to his entrance. I'm like, I take it. I don't care how long it is. I'll take it. But like the post match stuff that really felt heartwarming and started pulling at the heartstrings.
Yeah, yeah.
And then putting the hat down. That kind of like and then with it he kissed his wife at the end too, and walked around the ring and walked up the ramp and then did his pose. It's like okay,
Yeah, and see, me personally, I'm glad he retired.
I am too.
Yeah, like it just to me, once I get a certain age, it just gets uncomfortable for me to watch. Like people who have had a lot of injuries and older wrestlers, it just is it's just too much to me. It's like go ahead and wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you'll get a great Legends contract.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
let's see,
so
he is 52
I
years
just
old.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just time. Like I was watching the pay per view where it was Sting versus Seth Rollins,
Mm-hmm.
and Sting, not Sting, but Seth Rollins did the the vocal bomb. I think that's what they call it, the turnbuckle bomb on Sting. And it was like you saw Sting get up, then he just like fell. So, oh my gosh, this dude just got seriously injured.
Wow.
And you just don't want to see that with like people you grew up watching.
No, you really don't. You don't. But
Yeah.
okay, I was looking up. Like, yeah, he's 52 years old. I mean, he's done it for a while, and Bill Goldberg is 50.
Right.
So
And that's what I'm
it's
saying. Go out on top. Like Shawn Michaels, go out on top.
let's see. Yeah, it says he's 51. Triple H is 47. Roman's 31. Well, I thought he was older than that. Okay.
Yeah, and then plus to me is not realistic. Also, another reason I don't like it to be seeing people like Sting's age going against like Seth Rollins.
I agree.
Like, okay, I mean, I don't know how old Sting is, but how old did you say Undertaker was?
He's 52
Or
years old.
is
He's 52 years old.
52, and Roman is what?
Roman Reigns is because I just moved it. He's 31 years old. Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a 21-year age difference.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it happens, but it's just not realistic to me.
Right. I agree. It's not. But you know, we all knew it was going to get to a point where we weren't going to have Undertaker matches anymore at WrestleMania. We knew it was going to get to a point. And now, what I would have liked to have seen years ago when he fought Bray Wyatt, or was that last year or a couple years ago? No, a couple years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember when it was, but I know what you're saying. You would have wanted Bray to be the one.
Yeah, I mean, just for the supernatural element, just have that passing the torch. I pass it to the next supernatural character. But it's. I think at the end of the day, whether you like the content or not, it is what it is, and we have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, WWE already know that people are going to boo the crap out of Roman anyway, so they were just like, let's just go ahead and let him be the one.
Exactly.
It's really business as usual. He's getting like some extra heat, but I mean, he still gets heat anyway. So.
Yeah, but before we wrap things up, and your thoughts on WrestleMania overall, like, did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed WrestleMania.
Good.
It was the ultimate thrill ride.
Ha ha. Plug. That's funny. Hmm.
No, it was good though. It was fun.
Hmm. It
Like I don't
was.
know. It was so much better than last year.
Hmm. Yeah, and next year they'll be in New Orleans, so I'm like, I would love to try and go.
What to WrestleMania?
Yeah, I would love to go.
It would be cool, but I don't know because that's why I always said I would love to go. But last time I went to a live wrestling event, I
Hmm.
sat on the floor. But I won't like in the front row, but I was still like on the floor, and I couldn't see anything.
Wow.
But then it's like, because WrestleMania are in those huge football stadiums, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I just feel like you have to be really up on the ring to be able to see stuff. Because I feel like if you're in the stadium sitting, you're not going to see everything unless you pay a buttload of money to get really, really close seats.
Yeah, yeah, those front row seats where you can see people's faces on TV. Yes, those.
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, but I would have to have a lot of money to be able to get really good seats.
Yeah, I think we all would.
Yeah, like because I know when I went to the house shows, like the live event, it was like $300 to be in like the front. So if that's $300 just to be at like a random live house show, ain't no telling how much a WrestleMania ticket costs.
Oh shoot. Okay, you know what? I'm better off just paying for my WWE card for $30. I'm good.
I know it's like,
Hey, I would love to
man,
go,
get the
but
network for $9.99.
yes. And speaking of that, I missed that song. 9.99.
Oh
That,
yeah, that was good.
yeah. Or how they would like really subtly, do it. You can watch this event and more on WWE Network for 9, and the crowd was like 99. That was funny.
Yeah, yeah.
but but yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. This was a good show. I mean, this is my second WrestleMania, so I can, comparing it to last year, yeah, it was better. But this,
Mhm.
I just, we know going forward, everybody's going like, what's going to happen on TV and stuff now, but you can't compare. You say you got, it's always a ramp for WrestleMania, but now that it's the past, you gotta look forward to, what's coming next. Money in the Bank later on this year, SummerSlam, and then, once TLC happens, the road to WrestleMania begins again. So yeah.
Yeah. And see, my thing is, something else I had wanted to mention that I really like. I love when they do the Hall of Famers and let them come out at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I love that because I watched the Hall of Fame ceremony.
How is that?
It was really good. I mean, it was like 4 hours, but it was good.
Okay, I need to
Like
watch
I
that too.
really enjoyed Beth Phoenix. Her speech was amazing.
I need to
And see,
watch that too.
and the thing about it is, I never saw her wrestle because I wasn't watching wrestling when she was wrestling.
Mhm.
But her speech, it was so touching, and like her speech really put over other women. Where she could have went up there and just talked about herself. She talked about other women and like people who did things for her, and not just women. She talked, she thanked the production crew. I mean, she was like, I don't know, it was just very heartwarming to like hear her speech.
I need to go and watch this because I actually did not reactivate my account until Sunday. So I need I
And then
yeah.
her angle speech was really cool. And the thing I liked about her angle speech is that he was just talking about how he gave the new roster advice, and I like that because he gave them really good advice.
Mhm.
So he basically told them like you need to basically commit to the character, commit to your character, and I like that because I feel like some of them don't commit to a character. Some of them just want to go out and just play themselves. And it's like, back in the day, they had these over the top huge personalities.
Mhm. Because I feel like was like I know Kane's not you know newer per se, but like when he fought Seth Rollins a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Corporate Kane 1 minute, and then he went back to Demon Kane next, and
Yeah,
then
Kane is a
they're
perfect example.
like was it when he gave when he gave stuff like the head of the statue, he's like, yeah, stuff, it's your severed head from your statue, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, because my thing is, if you think about the current roster, which I love this roster, I think
I do too. Yeah.
if we compare this roster to like the Attitude Era, I think they wrestle better. I think they're better wrestlers.
That's true.
But I think the Attitude Era had better characters.
Right. I mean, you have a lot of people who.
But to me, the characters are more memorable because you remember those characters.
Exactly.
You can, I mean, like people will just start sprouting out quotes that people used to say. Like think about like The Rock, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Goldust, like The Godfather, Rikishi. All of them had like strong characters. Like you can still remember like a lot of promos that they gave, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like I said, I do think that the current roster wrestles better than they did though. I think they got better in ring skills.
True.
I say someone who I think if I was to pick somebody on the current roster who I think could have had like a personality that got over during the Attitude Era, I would say like the Miz.
Oh, definitely, most definitely.
The Miz would definitely have fit in. The Miz, John Cena, he was close enough to that era. Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
I feel like you do have a lot of people who are just kind of like they're playing a character, but they're not like I don't know. You get what I'm saying? They're just not like not that character.
And I guess that goes along to say a lot of people who grew up like us growing up with the Attitude Era, that's wrestling to them, and then they always want to compare it, but it's like I get you're comparing then versus now, but you really should give now a chance.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they do have like the in-ring skills now. It's like to me, it's like way better, especially the women.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo on like Lita, Trish, or Jacqueline or anything like that, but I think they were hindered because of like bra and panty matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to say like we've gone well away from those matches, and I'm glad we have.
Yeah. Like I think they could. I think that the women from the Attitude Era, could have definitely fit in with what's going on now if they had been given that opportunity.
Now I want to ask you a question about since you said that women's wrestlers. Do you think saying this is now a women's division match, do you feel like that's a problem, or is that okay with you?
What, a women's division match?
Yeah, like maybe to me it sounds like it's still divisive.
Like what?
Like it's a little divisive a little bit. Maybe it's just me.
No, I think it's okay. Just because so you mean kind of I think it's because there's not as many women as men.
Yeah, but
so I get what you're saying because like with the men, you have this is a tag team division, intercontinental, U.S. title, universal title, world championship match.
Right, and I get saying women's title, I get that, but yet when it's like is this a regular match with women, you're like this is a women's division match. I'm like, but you're not saying that for the men. I'm just calling it out. I mean, like, you're not saying it for the men. It's something I've thought about for like a while now. I'm just curious to know your thoughts.
I just think they do kind of like say like, oh, this is a tag team division match, or they'll say this is a cruiserweight match. So I don't think it's too big of a deal. Do you mean kind of like for the main event guys? Like this is a men's division match?
Yeah, like that, because like
And,
they'll make a really big ado about saying, yeah, saying we haven't had a women's match main event Raw in a long time. I'm like, yeah, but you have. So I get why you're saying it, but let the match speak for itself and stop the commentary. That's just me.
gotcha.
I don't know.
I think the only thing is you can't say this is a men's division match for the main eventers because if they're the men's division, then what are the other men? You know what I mean?
Right, and I guess it's like they put focus saying this is a women's division match. I'm like, yeah, but you don't say it for the men, so why? That's just me.
I feel you. It don't bother me too much though.
Okay. I hadn't really expressed that before. I was just like, well, since you were talking about women in the past versus now, I was like, well, let me just share my thoughts. But I do want to say thank you, Danny, for joining me this evening and discussing WrestleMania 33.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And where can people find you online so they can talk to you more about your love of wrestling and things of that nature?
I'm on Twitter at ADP1222.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, thank you, and I hope you all have enjoyed listening to this special edition of Blerdlines podcast.